It rises slowly, quietly, like a silent sentinel in the sky. It's been there since the beginning, watching, waiting, glowing over empires and deserts, over mountaintops and cities, over prophets and kings, the full moon. To some, it's just another part of the night sky, a beautiful light, a poetic backdrop. But to the ancient writers of the Bible, it was something more, something divine, something sacred, and something prophetic. From the first page of Genesis to the last visions in Revelation, the moon is part of a divine pattern that most people miss. But when you connect the dots, the picture that emerges is stunning. Let's go back to the beginning. In Genesis chapter 1, on the fourth day of creation, God speaks, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Notice what he says. These lights in the sky, the sun, the stars, and yes, the moon, were created not just to shine, but to serve as signs, markers of time, signals for appointed moments. God built his calendar into the cosmos. And in the ancient Hebrew calendar, time was kept by the moon. Each month began with the new moon, when it was barely visible, and then, 14 days later, it would rise to its full brightness. The full moon wasn't just a random phase, it was a signal, often aligning with the most sacred and prophetic events in the biblical narrative. In Psalm 81 verse 3, we read this, "Blow the trumpet at the new moon, at the full moon, on our feast day." That one verse connects the moon to worship, to celebration, and to prophetic appointments. Feasts like Passover and Sukkot were strategically placed in the middle of the month, right when the moon was full and bright. Why? Because God wasn't hiding. He was declaring. Now consider this. The Passover, arguably the most important feast in Jewish history, was commanded by God to take place on the 14th day of the month of Nisan. That's right at the full moon. That means the night the Israelites prepared to leave Egypt, the night the blood of the lamb was painted over the doors, the sky was glowing with full brightness. No shadows, no confusion. The entire scene bathed in moonlight. The light of the full moon watched over the cries of Egypt and the freedom of God's people. But the story doesn't end there. Centuries later, in a quiet upper room in Jerusalem, Jesus sat with his disciples during that very same Passover, the Last Supper, the beginning of his journey to the cross. And once again, the moon was full. The same moon that rose over Egypt now rose over Gethsemane. The same phase that marked deliverance now marked redemption. And here's where it gets deeply poetic and deeply prophetic. Jesus was crucified during Passover, which means he was crucified during the full moon. Think about that, the light of the world hanging on a cross under the brightest light of the night sky. The moon, full and unblinking, silently watching as the Savior of the world gave his life for mankind. It was as if creation itself stood still to witness the moment. But the moon isn't only mentioned in celebration, it also appears in judgment. In the book of Joel, we're given a chilling warning. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord. And in Revelation chapter 6, the Apostle John writes, "I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth, and the full moon became like blood." Theologians debate whether these are metaphorical or literal. But one detail is often overlooked. A lunar eclipse, where the moon turns red, only happens during a full moon. Let that sink in. In the moment of ultimate judgment, the moon is once again full. In celebration, it was full. In crucifixion, it was full. And in coming judgment, It's full again. Could it be that God uses the full moon as a kind of divine exclamation point? A punctuation mark in his story? But here's where we go deeper, into the mystery beneath the surface. The moon, for all its brilliance, has no light of its own. It doesn't shine. It reflects. Its glow comes from the sun. The more it aligns with the sun, the more it reflects. And when it's in perfect alignment, it becomes full. You and I? We were made to reflect the sun. Not the star in the sky, but the Son of God. Just like the moon, we are at our brightest when we are aligned with the one who made us. In 2 Corinthians 3:18, Paul writes, "We all are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory." Our purpose isn't to shine on our own. It's to reflect, to mirror, to radiate the glory of God into the darkness around us. The full moon becomes more than a phase. It becomes a parable of surrender, of alignment, of divine reflection. But there's more. The moon's cycle also teaches us about seasons. The moon waxes and wanes. It goes through phases. Some nights, it's barely visible. Other nights, it's radiant. Sound familiar? Our spiritual lives feel like that too. Sometimes we feel distant, empty, dim. But God is still working. The orbit is still in motion. And the fullness will return. The key is staying in alignment, staying in orbit, staying surrendered. The full moon reminds us, don't panic in your darkness. You were made to shine again. But there's still one final layer. The full moon also divides. It draws a line between those who are watching and those who are sleeping. In Egypt, those under the blood of the Lamb experienced freedom under the full moon. But those without it experienced judgment. In Revelation, the blood moon appears. Those aligned with Christ are sealed and protected. But those without him? They mourn. The same moon shines over both. But what it means depends on where you stand. To the believer, the full moon is a sign of promise. To the world, it may become a warning of reckoning. The sky doesn't lie. It doesn't argue. It just reflects. And so the question becomes, what does the full moon mean for you? Is it a poetic background or a prophetic sign? Is it a coincidence or a call to attention? Is it a phase or a heavenly signal? When you see it next, rising slow and silent over the horizon, don't just see a glowing orb. See the Lamb who died under it. See the God who set it in motion. See the judgment it may one day signal. See the reflection you are called to become. Because one day, the full moon may rise for the last time. And when it does, let it find you aligned. Let it find you full of light. Let it find you reflecting the glory of the one who spoke light into being. The heavens are still declaring the glory of God. Are you listening?